And now it gives me great pleasure to welcome the president of Friendship Heights Neighbors Network, Connie Rao.
Hi, everybody. I want to welcome all of you who are village members and those of you who are not. I want to be sure that you know that Friendship Heights Neighbors Network, FHNN, has been pleased after some planning to have 4 programs this year, of which this is one on dementia information for area seniors, since this is such an area of high interest. And this is part of our collaboration with Little Falls Village. I also want to recognize Margaret Walker, who is Operations and Marketing Director at Little Falls Village, who is helping with this presentation. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce you to today's speaker, Kathleen McGinnis. Kathleen has given talks nationwide and globally on a variety of topics. She was recently appointed as a commissioner on the Commission on Aging for Montgomery County. She is a consultant on aging in place and a certified dementia practitioner related to this presentation. Kathleen cared for her spouse who had FTD, frontal temporal dementia, and other illnesses. Kathleen is a member of the FHNN Board of Directors, and I now want to turn the program over to Kathleen.
Thanks, Connie. Always a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Margaret and George and Louise, the behind the scenes people who are extremely helpful, and we couldn't do this program without them. Let me just start this slideshow from the beginning. Okay. Do we see the screen the way we're supposed to see it? Louise, are you seeing the large screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so as Connie, the president, mentioned for Friendship Heights Neighbors Network, this program is one of many that this particular village brings to you in conjunction with Little Falls Village. And if you're not already a member of Little Falls Village or Friendship Heights Neighbors Network, we hope that you will consider joining. So as Connie mentioned, I'm a 4th generation Washingtonian, and I now live in Friendship Heights. I've spent 45 years working as an executive in the hospitality and in the healthcare industry. And when I moved here to Friendship Heights almost 5 years ago, the first thing I did was I joined Friendship Heights Neighbors Network for my husband specifically, who had Parkinson's, had prostate cancer, and had frontal temporal dementia, which kind of galloped along. So I have to say that they helped save my sanity with their programs and support for Joe with his doctor's appointments, and it really is a great community service. So these are some of the organizations that I participate in and volunteer with currently, in addition to my own company, which helps older adults find solutions for aging in place. Let me go here. So today what we're going to talk about is some essential family caregiver products that I discovered when I was looking for support and help as I was caring for my husband before he passed away. Also, having been in the home care business for the last 7 years, I probably have been in about, I don't know, 400 homes, and people, there's a lot of knowledge sharing in the marketplace, and these were the best ones that worked for me. Hopefully they will be helpful for you too. So the first one, just a quick note here. I really do strongly recommend that you begin to build a toolkit for you personally if you are caring for a loved one who has dementia or any type of chronic illness that is incurable, essentially. 38% of the dementia, Alzheimer's, or chronic illness caregivers die before the care recipient does. I found that to be a very sobering statistic. And when my husband did eventually pass away, I realized I had not been to the doctor in almost 3 years. I had not had a mammogram. I had not done any of the normal care things that I would have done if I hadn't been so overwhelmed trying to work full time and care for somebody who needed a lot of care. So these are a few things that I strongly recommend. If you haven't done anything yet and you're at the beginning of the journey, this is a good thing to do today. So find a support group. AARP has lots of them. I sent Louise a handout, and she can send it to you afterwards if anybody wants it. Sibley Hospital, Sibley Seniors Association Club Memory is also an excellent one that I participated in. As I said, join a village wherever you are. It will really enhance your resources. Start using one of the apps or the products that I'm going to share with you today, especially if you're in the beginning of the journey and don't really need it. That way, as you're learning, you'll build your expertise before you're in crisis mode. I also recommend everybody consult an elder law attorney. NALA is the National Association of Elder Law Attorneys, and that means that they're well versed in will, trust, guardianship, a lot of the experiences that happen to people who happen to live alone, have no family members to care for them, and need an outside person, to be their guardian. Again, caring for someone who has a chronic illness can be very expensive. So there's lots of resources in Montgomery County, thankfully, but an elder law attorney can also help you with Medicaid, Medicare, and all the variety of segments of that. There is a Commission on Aging presentation, which will give a lot of free resources that are available, transportation. Montgomery County, luckily, is a wealthy county. I'll be doing that presentation on March 27th at 2 p.m. at Friendship Heights Community Center. It's a totally different presentation than this one. It's all about free resources in Montgomery County for anybody over 50. So just a quick slide here on what is an app. An app is a mobile application, which is most commonly referred to. It's a smaller form of software designed to run on a mobile device. So there's a lot of apps that are on your desktop that are not on your phone. It's expensive to create an app. And a lot of products these days, most everybody has an app, but the ones I'm talking about today all have an app so you can access it on your phone. Apps have less memory and they can handle just a moderate amount of data, and they're designed to perform a specific task. Like this Caring Bridge, which I'm going to speak to you next about, has its own app that you can access on your phone. Because if you can't access it on your phone, it's not very helpful these days, in my opinion. So the first product, the application that you can have on your phone and also on your desktop. I like to start a lot of these caregiver apps on my phone, on my desktop, because I can see more, and I just prefer to have the large screen when I'm creating a product. And then when I open it up and download the app on my phone, all the heavy lifting, all of the fine tuning work is done. So this Caring Bridge app it's a nonprofit that was founded in 1997, has over 2.4 billion with a B site visits. So it's a well-used, reputable product, and it was designed to create a family website in 5 minutes. It's ad-free. I found I wanted this was because my husband had 9 brothers and sisters. So by the time I tell his 9 brothers and sisters, he's been moved from hospital A to hospital B. I'm already exhausted. So this is it's a family website. You can put any kind of information on it. It's available on an iPhone and an Android and your desktop. And it's perfect because, as you probably may or may not know, a health crisis throws everything into chaos. And because family and friends care, they call, and the phone calls add up, and it's difficult to keep up with them all, and my daily life, and let the people know who love, my husband and family members, what they can do to help. So I needed something that was quick and fast for delegating. So anybody can get on this site that you choose to give access to. So again, Caring Bridge gives you one centralized private place to share health updates and request help. So hypothetical, actually a real example for me was Joe was at a rehab, actually, and then he went for a respite stay. And he had a Parkinson's exercise class every Thursday from 1 to 2 o'clock. So for me to be there would take 2 hours out of my work day. But if I could ask one of his brothers or sisters or one of our friends or neighbors who constantly ask, what can I do to help? On caringbridge.org, I can say, I need a spotter for Joe every Thursday at 1 o'clock for the month of April. Sign up here. Boom. I mean, it's such a win-win, it seemed like to me, because the people who want to help have something they can do specifically. And it doesn't take me 9 group emails to share the information. The person who would spot Joe, being a spotter just means being in the chair next to Joe to help stabilize him so he doesn't fall over while he's doing his exercise class. But they can also take a picture of Joe in his chair doing his exercises. You upload it very easily to caringbridge.org, and the whole family gets to see it. And they get to see that, he's doing okay. He's doing great today. So it is, there's no ads. You can receive emotional strength and support from your family, visitors, and I could leave photos when Joe, Joe was a frequent traveler to a lot of different hospitals in Palm Beach and New Jersey and all the hot spots. But so I could just put a picture up and go, whoops, here we are. We're in New Jersey hospital, but he's doing okay, and we expect to be out in 2 days. So I just found it to be a great resource. So that's all for caringbridge.com. And if you do have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, and I'll be happy to come back and answer them. This product, which was GPS insoles for anyone that wanders, anyone that has a type of dementia that FTD, which is frontal temporal dementia, has one of the issues that comes with that illness is impulse control. So if Joe had a brilliant idea, like I'm going to go to the toy store down at Westbard Shopping Center, Joe gets up and goes. Joe doesn't remember that he's got a walker, he's walking on gravel, he's walking down River Road, and he's not allowed to do that. Luckily, he's been here or had been here for many, many years, and a lot of people knew him. So when he would fall down, people would pick him up, put him in their car, and bring him back home. Well, it only happened once, and I thought, oh my goodness, I have to do something. So these GPS insoles, many people with Alzheimer's and a variety of dementias don't like to have anything on them. They don't like to wear a pendant for whatever reason. They can have their phone, but he wouldn't always turn his phone on. Apple Watch, I had him fully wired, but he was kind of sneaky. So I had to have multiple choices of options to track him. So 5 early signs and symptoms of Alzheimer's, if you don't know already, are confusion with time or place, changes in mood, memory loss, poor judgment, hard to complete familiar tasks. One of the I also kept a journal, and I realized Joe used to always set the heat and the temperature and some of those things, and he was unable to do it one year from fall to spring. And I thought, well, that's interesting. He could do that last year. I have never known how to do it, so I can't forget it because I don't know how to do it in the first place. Anyways, there are over 100 million people requiring constant oversight due to various forms of memory impairment. That is a very large number. It's a very scary number for family members who are trying to keep their loved one in the house or keep track of them as they get on an airplane or go through an airport. It's not always easy. So there are, there's 5 or 6 different GPS tracking insoles, which again, you can have an app on your phone. I have the app here. And again, I initiated and uploaded all the information on my desktop. So, so I didn't have to squint on this little teeny phone. But this is, let's see, these tracking insoles. So it was a relatively new tech application about 5 years ago. You can just Google smart soles. They're now coming out with like a little pad type thing that you can attach on the inside of the shoe, which is probably going to be less expensive. But this one, let me see, do I have the price? I think it was about $349. And this company, Met Alert Corporation, created this GPS smart sole with cell phone technology application to track the wearer wherever they go via phone or computer. So they look just like the Dr. Scholl's inserts you buy at the drugstore. And because they're in his shoes, it doesn't bother him. It's not something he can forget, take off, or leave behind. And that was my experience, that was a good product for me to use to keep track of him. If I had to leave him alone for an hour, he said he would stay put, but he didn't always. Let's see, GPS tracking. So it says here, the primary reason, paranoia is a manifestation of Alzheimer's. It can be where they don't want to feel like they're being watched with a phone or a pendant, especially. So that's often why if you put something on somebody with a dementia-related disease that they don't recognize it, they may remove it. If it's a wristwatch and it's not their familiar wristwatch that they've been wearing for 20 years, they don't want it and you have to take it off. So hiding this insole was the best way for me to keep track. Oh, here it is, the price. So it was $359 for the purchase and a monthly plan of about $29 for all of the Wi-Fi tracking, etc. You know, that is expensive. There are different ones online. Again, just Google insole for wanderers and you will come up with a variety of different ones. This just happened to be one that worked for me. Keep in mind that this technology does not take the place of vigilance and supervision if your loved one is at that stage. Veterans and law enforcement officers usually get $25 off. And this is an email address here that you could email to. I have no connection with any of these products. These, again, are just products that I found useful for me. The next one I'm going to talk about is the Care Zone. Again, this is an organizer. I started it on my desktop where I uploaded information, uploaded prescriptions, uploaded anything I needed to keep track of, insurance cards, etc. And it was important that I had it on a mobile device because, as I mentioned, I was in, a variety of very nice hospitals in a variety of locations. New Jersey, Florida, Sibley, Suburban, Georgetown. And the hospital information does not always get transmitted from one hospital to the next. Sibley Hospital and Suburban Hospital are owned by Johns Hopkins, so your information, if you have it at one, it's easy in the other. But when you go to a MedStar hospital, they have some of Joe's information, but not all of it. So this, again, is just it's a tracker of a variety of healthcare, your blood pressure, your glucose, whatever it is that you want to keep track of. And it's an organizer. So you can scan pill bottles and it creates a detailed list of your medications that you can share with your doctors, or as I mentioned, it's great for trips to the ER. If this is too complicated or more technology than you want, the easiest thing for me to do, and what I've done for myself now, is I just take a picture of my 3 prescription bottles and I have that in my phone. I have a folder in my photos and it says KMM Medical. And my prescription bottles, what they look like, are there. And just as a little sidebar, I was in Jordan in September and I did not take my blood pressure medication with me because I stopped taking it. I'd lost some weight and I didn't need it. But I don't know if it was the heat. Actually, it was probably traveling with my children that caused my blood pressure to skyrocket. So I took this picture of my medication to the pharmacy in Amman, Jordan. And guess what? They gave me my blood pressure medication. 30 pills for $3, cheaper than I pay for it here. I thought, isn't that something? So for you're the person you're caring for, whomever, take that picture of your medications. If you're going to put it in Care Zone, that's great. If you're not going to put it in Care Zone, just keep it in your phone for you, so that if you should need your medication wherever you are, you've got a pretty good shot of getting it. I just thought that was fabulous, that it was so inexpensive. And the pharmacist gave it to me. No doctor, no nothing. Just pharmacist said, okay, I can do that. Anyways, okay, so through the app, caregivers can also create to-do lists to keep track of appointments, medication times. It also curates news relevant. So if you happen to tag Parkinson's or frontal temporal dementia, it will curate certain articles that come through online for you to read. And it's available for free on your iPhone or an Android phone. Never forget. Okay, so these are Wall Street Journal. So it's these icons here just to let you know that it's a reputable product. It's well used, and everybody has to find what works for them. What works for me may not work for you. There are plenty of other products out there that will help you with this. The next one that I think so many people have in their homes now, artificial intelligence products, Alexa and Google Home. These happen to be my personal favorites. I use them for everything. I initially began using Alexa. My father was in a nursing home, and I couldn't get to see him every day, of course, but he enjoyed it when I read to him. So I can program his Alexa from my phone and say, read to daddy every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. Now, is daddy asleep in 15 minutes? Yes. But Alexa reads his story to him or puts on his favorite music or whatever it is that I've asked for help with. And you can do that in your own home. If you find, as I did, that these digital assistants are so valuable for patients. If my father asked me once, he asked me 16 times, what time is it? What time are we leaving? And then I go, Joe or Daddy, ask Alexa. Alexa, what time are we leaving? 3 p.m. Alexa does not get annoyed. Alexa will say it 16 times. Never gets annoyed. I like that. So you can have, video calling, an Alexa video calling system from my house to your house where you can see the visual cues. I think many people find these helpful for long distance caring. To me, long distance caring is if you're 3 blocks away, it's long distance, because sometimes your loved one may have difficulty communicating. And I needed to see Joe's face when he would say, I'm fine, but I could see he was perspiring and his eyes didn't look right. Then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I think maybe he has sepsis again. Sometimes I needed these visual cues. So anyways, all these assistants, they live in the cloud, they're updated regularly, they're constantly getting smarter, and they are amazing products for reminders. I really do talk to my Alexa all day. I live alone, and Alexa reminds me to water my plants on the balcony Monday, Wednesday, Friday, medications, 8 a.m., 2 p.m., 10 p.m., anything you want to be reminded of. These products are just great, and you can set the reminders in another room of your house. You can use them as an intercom. If you're on one level and your loved one is upstairs, you can use it as an intercom to talk to the person upstairs if you don't have a phone handy. You can get a update from Alexa every week just by signing up on the Alexa app, and they'll tell you everything you wanted to know about new suggestions for how you could use your personal assistant. They can call the hospital. Alexa, help, I've fallen, I can't get up. Alexa, call Suburban Hospital. There are over 25,000 tasks. If you want Alexa or Google to set an Uber pickup for tomorrow morning, you can do that. I love having a secretary. It's the best. Basic questions for a digital assistant in the home is, do I have to have Wi-Fi in the home? Yes, you do. Are there monthly charges for the device? No, there are not. I hear I can play music on it. Is that free or is there a cost? The answer is it depends. Yes, you can play music on it. Yes, you do have a lot of free music options. But if what you want to hear is not in their specific playlist, then you have to I have a subscription to Apple Music for $9.99 a month because I want to listen to certain songs. Christmas, I like The Little Drummer Boy, and I only like the version by oh God. Oh, now I can't remember his name. But I only like one version, and that's what I like. So I pay $9.99, but you can have it for free if you want. And it says, do I have to have a computer or a smartphone? Yes, you do, one or the other. So something new is that Alexa has added HIPAA compliance and technology skills for certain providers. Many providers are using their Google Assistant or Alexa in their offices to take notes, and it is becoming more and more prominent in hospitals, in the back rooms for healthcare related tasks, healthcare data, and to ease interaction with their providers. So you're only going to see these grow. So might as well start having fun with them now. As I mentioned, Alexa has a drop-in feature. So on my phone, when my husband was at a respite care stay for 60 days, I could program his Alexa to play doo-wop music at 8 o'clock from 8 to 9. And it was great. You know, it's very comforting to him. I could also get to him because if your loved one happens to be in a facility, there's generally not a phone in the person's room. My husband would not answer his phone. He was usually had it turned off to save the battery. Why, we don't know, but that's what he did. So I could get to him. It was like being able to nag long distance through Alexa. I thought it was the greatest. But I could say, Joe, you know, pickup is at 2 p.m. today. Don't leave your room. And that would work. So it was easier than getting someone to go down the hall to physically tell him that. I got creative because I was desperate. And that's just the way it was. So, you know, and for me at home, you know, if you have arthritic hands, it's hands-free. You can do a lot of great things. Boiling hard-boiled eggs, you know, you can just tell Alexa, timer in 10 minutes, boom, you don't forget it. So this is the last one app here. It's on the Apple Watch. It has really come a long way. I also use the Apple Watch for my husband as a tracker. It now can do many more things than it could 3 or 4 years ago. Again, it's an expensive product, but for me, I decided it was worth it. It was also a fall detector. If you happen to live alone, I have a lot of girlfriends that have the Apple Watch specifically for the fall detection part of it. So it has an algorithm that, I mean, it can even tell if you fall frontwards or you fall backwards. And this emergency SOS will activate on your watch. It will say, it looks like you've taken a hard fall, and it will give you 3 options. Emergency, SOS, I fell, but I'm okay, or I did not fall, Maybe you slammed your arm on a tabletop to make an emphatic point. But if you have the SOS option, it will contact 911. It has, if you buy the one with the GPS locator, and you have to buy that one specifically, because I bought the one that did not have GPS in it the first time, had to take it back. But it can tell you exactly where that person is. I had it on Joe, and it said he was in the middle of Connecticut Avenue. I could not understand how that was possible. He shouldn't have been able to get out the front door, but damn if he didn't. Out the front door, crossing, 6 lanes there, Connecticut Avenue, and he tripped and he fell in the street. So I'm surprised I don't have more gray hair. But anyways, so the Apple Watch does have other health benefits. It does have an accurate heart rate monitoring. It can do your electrocardiogram. It can detect irregular heart rhythms, as in AFib now. It can do your blood oxygen readings. My mother had COPD. This would have been great. She walked around with one of those little oximeters on her finger all the time. The Apple Watch also has location tracking. And again, if you're not caring for another person that you can track on your phone via their Apple Watch, it's great to have for yourself. Okay, coming to the end here. So last few parting thoughts here. If you're communicating with a memory impaired person, try to have realistic expectations. Don't rush the person. It's easy for them to get confused. Allow them for time to tune in. I know it's hard to be patient when your patience is tried a million ways every day, but try and keep your directions simple. Use concrete words, generally with multi-sensory cues. What does that mean? That means when I say 2 o'clock, I put up 2 fingers. 2 p.m., I'll be back at 2 p.m. And I also write it down for him. Some people understand better visually, some people hear it better, and some people are better helped with the combination of the two. Never argue. You will not win. It's exhausting. And really, just, I think it's in your best interest. I've discovered it was in my best interest not to argue and to take the blame for any misunderstanding. I was working with a mentally ill person who was confused and believed what they believed, and there was no changing that. So it's a big adjustment for the caregiver, but I think once you adjust to that thought that this is a different person that you're working with, life will be easier. And of course, and limit choices. Do not give them 6 choices. 2 choices is fine. Do you want to watch this show or that show? The whole menu of things I found were generally too overwhelming for my person. Last but not least, keep calm. You're a rock star if you're still standing, still reading this and caring for a loved one. You're earning your wings in heaven, and it really is a true act of love and patience to care for another person. And that is it for these apps that I hope you'll find helpful. Again, remember to join a village. And if you have any questions, Louise, I will take them. Let's see. I'm going to stop the share here. Is it David Bowie? I don't know what that means. Okay, so a question here is, what tips do you have for convincing a person that they have dementia. Wait a minute, let me get rid of this one here. I think, that goes to convincing, not arguing. It's very difficult to convince a person who has dementia that they have dementia. It is, in my experience, generally a lost cause. I even went so far as to take pictures. Every time my husband fell down, he scraped up his face, he scraped up his knee, he scraped up his elbow. And when he would hear me say to his daughter, well, he fell last week, he'd go, I did not fall. And then I'd show the picture, and it was like, I don't think I'd do that again. Don't argue. Speaking from my own perspective, it's best not to argue. As a certified dementia practitioner, that is the professional guidance. It doesn't gain any points, and it's just an area of frustration for both of you. Let's see. Is there use of a chip technology for wandering patients? Yes. Oh, well, the chip technology, the chip is in the Apple Watch. The chip is in the insole shoes. That's the only chips that I know of so far. Oh, Kathleen is saying, was David Bowie my preferred performer for Little Drummer Boy? No, it's Mannheim's Steamroller. Now I remember. Okay, who else has questions out there? I think in my experience with dementia, Alzheimer's, varying degrees of mental illnesses, my father was 88, and when he was bedridden, and when I walked in to visit him, and he said, Kathleen, I'm going to have a job interview tomorrow. And I go, really, Daddy? That's amazing. And he said, yes, I'm going to the bank to interview. I need a new suit. And so I went, okay, I'll get you a new suit, Daddy. He said, did you spend all my money, or do I have enough money left for a suit? And I said, well, I spent a lot of it. But I just praised Dad and said, I think that's terrific. You've been in real estate for 85 years, and now you're going to change to banking. Congratulations, Dad. He's happy. I'm happy. I haven't had another fight with him, and I think that's really just the best way to go about someone with dementia. You don't need to be right. I didn't need to be right. Let me put it that way. Is there something like an Apple Watch for people who use non-Apple products? There is a Fitbit product that can be used as a tracker. That is like a watch that has a locator in it. If you Google Android locators, you will find some comparable products for non-Apple users. Question: how accurate is the Apple Watch in checking oxygen levels? Does it work as well as other methods for a person with heart failure? Well, you probably have to really check with your doctor, but I have checked the oxygen meter side by side with the little oximeter that you put on your finger that will tell you your oxygen saturation. And it said the same thing on his phone as it did on the finger thing. As far as the heart, it's pretty accurate for giving you irregular heartbeats. Would that be the only thing I relied on? No. Would I use that as a warning signal to say, hey, something might not be right here. I want to check further, and then call your doctor.
I think we could stop the recording now.